It's Valentine's Day. It's Valentine's weekend. It's February. And I am afraid that a lot of us, even as adults, don't know the difference between sexuality and intimacy.
Okay.
And I want you to really distinguish it because a lot of people want intimacy, but only know sexuality.
Right. And if you listen to the music, it doesn't really introduce you to intimacy and love, right?
Ain't no songs about taking a walk no more.
No, it's not. I really
no
miss
songs
you.
gonna
I
come and
love you,
take my
girl. I
hand.
need you. You know, one of my
Just back that thing up.
immediately,
Yeah, right.
immediately, drop it low, right? Come here,
Sweep
girl.
the floor.
right? All this stuff. Day one,
Yes.
day one, and so, but it's affecting our boys.
Mm.
It's affecting our boys. They haven't seen the old Chris Brown video where he's chasing the girl in the park,
Right.
and she keeps walking, and he keeps chasing her, trying to get her attention. Right? They don't see that. And so they're thinking that sexuality is love. But what we know is that intimacy is really about how you feel emotionally. You want me to get deep?
Yeah.
Right? So studies show that married couples actually have more satisfying sex lives than people who are single. When I saw that, I said, that was shocking. Because men out there like, no, man, the single brothers that's doing all that, they have a better sex life. But what they found is that those relationships lack intimacy. See, if we're making love, I'm making love to you. I know you. I know how you feel. Even because you're talking about sexuality and it's Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
I know what you like. I can tell by how you move. I can tell by your sounds when I might get too deep.
No,
what
stay right there.
what
Stay
adjustments
right
to
there.
make, all right? You know, we can actually sit and do things. We can talk about variety within our marriage and things that we want to do because we have history and we have emotions. And I can make love to you after a great promotion. I can make love to you after a loss. And I know that's a different style of love making.
Ooh-wee.
That's intimacy you can't get just by dropping it low.
Yes.
Right? And then what you'll find is that you'll actually have, let's say, more stamina when you're in love with someone. Right? Because there's that connection. You're not worrying about performance. You're not performative. You're not, trying to please. You don't have these insecurities.
That's so good. That's
right?
so good. No, that's great.
I know, I went there, but and you're actually able to learn your partner over time. Right? We don't talk about this in the church, right? But since it's Valentine's Day, our erotic fantasies change every 90 days.
Really?
Every 90 days we get bored. I have to say this because when you talk...
Man, somebody just dropped the mic.
90
Wait a minute,
days.
stop that. Every 90 days, what happens?
You get bored. You habituate to the same old.
Wow.
Right? And so in marriages... couples should be talking about what new things would you like to do. All right. What you like last month may not be what you like this month. What kind of mood are you in? What would you like to do? Do you like a man with slow hands? Is there an area that I can focus on? Hey, when we were making love, I thought there was a moment that something could have happened. Can we talk about that? Yeah. Right? So couples, and this is not, black folks don't talk like this.
No.
Right? But when you look at like Spanish culture, right? They talk, European culture, they talk like this. Right? This is human sexuality.
Yeah.
They talk. And there's like, of course you're going to get bored. That's why we always have to talk and make sure that we're in tune with one another. So that I'm not just doing what I do.
Yes.
And you're like, oh, okay.
So every 90 days needs to be a checkup.
Every 90 days, what the research shows, right? And for people just want to, Dr. Barry McCarthy, right, is the one of the researchers in this, and he talks about you should have variety in your marriage. Sometimes you initiate. Sometimes they initiate. Sometimes you have an all-nighter if you can. Sometimes it's short and sweet. Sometimes the other person is the focus, and you just trying to take care of you. Sometimes you're the focus. Sometimes we're both trying to do it. Wow. Sometimes we're trying to do. Sometimes I'm trying to keep PG. Sometimes there's an element of danger. Right? We in the car, we in the drive-through. All these elements, and we're talking about keeping it in the marriage. God wants us to have great sex.
Wreck that car, Dr. Tartt.
Right, but people are not talking about this. And what we don't talk about doesn't go anywhere. It just gets bigger.
Yeah.
All right. And so I encourage married couples to have this conversation. I know there are men and women watching this right now that feel liberated. Like, watch this podcast and let's talk about what you like. Just tell me what you like and what you like more of. right? What would add some flavor, some spice, some energy into our intimacy? And for a lot of women, they're going to say intimacy starts, it's not lovemaking. It's before.
That's right.
Get me at an 8 or a 9 before you touch me.
Yeah.
You want the best lovemaking for a woman? Let her luxuriate. Let her feel emotionally safe. Take some things off her plate. Let her know that you think of her. Do random acts of kindness.
No, that's great.
Touch her without the expectation of sex. I'm just holding your hand in the parking lot.
Right.
I'm just coming and hugging you when we get home. I'm not. Every time I touch you is not to initiate sex, right? And so if you learn the dance, if you learn most women, and there's some women that are not like that.
Yes.
They're like, yeah, no, just I'm ready.
Yes.
Right. But if you need to learn your wife, right, and understand what she needs, and understand that romance and sexuality are connected. You can have the best sex by making sure the intimacy is there. Have a deep conversation, then make love.
Wow.
That's going to be a lot better lovemaking than just meeting up and doing what you do.
Wow.
Talk to my heart and spirit. And I'm going to be honest. I'm not a typical man. You need to talk to me first.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You don't even know what's going on with me.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
right,
No, you need to talk to me. I'm a sapiosexual. Get into my head. If you're in my head and my heart, oh my goodness, I'm already ready.
He identifies as a sapiosexual. So that's not a rainbow. That's a green clover. A sapio. I just like saying it. A sapiosexual. I remember the church almost crashed and burned when Kirk Franklin went on Oprah Winfrey and said he had an addiction to pornography. Because we were taught it's bad. Is it still unhealthy even in marriage?
Oh yeah, but it's for a reason that's not necessarily about the judgment. All right. So when we look at studies about porn, all right, here's what happens. So couples first introduce it, and usually they like it at first because there is a third thing to focus on to add to the eroticism.
Right.
All right. So couples will argue you up and, no, this is good. No matter what you say, I know how I feel. I know my level of desire is higher.
Right.
But if we fast forward in a relationship, right, what happens is one of them watches the porn without the other person.
Ooh.
Right. And so what you're doing is you're now shaping and training. If you remember operant behavior modification, you are training yourself to be stimulated by someone other than your husband.
Ooh,
so
psychological adultery.
So come home and your wife touching you, be like, "Nah, I'm good. I watched the video for you." You're never gonna say that,
right?
But I watched the video before you got here. All right. So now you're creating insecurities, with your partner. You're actually decreasing the healthy sexuality.
Yes.
The sexual frequency. That's what I was looking for.
Right.
Because you're taking care of yourself. I don't really need you. Right? And then the other thing is here's what happens.
Yeah.
You find yourself going back to just sex with you and your wife as boring without the porn.
Wow.
See, when we first got the spark, that was great seeing this in the background and I'm looking at you, I'm looking at the TV or whatever people doing, right? But when I went back to you, it felt boring and I lost libido. I lost desire. I felt a need to have a third person, all right, or a third stimulus in the room, and you actually end up harming, for most couples, your sexuality by accident, right? And then for a lot of men, they forget about the intimacy and the romance, and the training of watching porn just teaches you just about how to climax, right? And it hurts you when it comes back to relationships, right? You don't really know how to connect. You don't know how to bond, and you end up hurting your own relationship by mistake. So all the research says, walk away from the porn.
Yeah.
And I hope people can see the practical. I like to be practical with people so they can see that makes sense.
No, that's great.